So we will be taking the questions right now. So I think you are free to share your challenges that you're facing when it comes to Olympiad preparation. Especially, we're talking about English Olympiad today. Yeah.
To be very frank, Kavni, I'm very late. I just started the preparation of Olympiad 2 days back. So
Okay.
that is making me very, guilty also that, okay, I could not give him time earlier. And I don't know, I'm very late. I'm very late. I really know that.
No, Trisha, I don't feel that you are late because, when it comes to Olympiad or any competitive exams, be it math or English, when we are solving, because, we are doing the mentorship program, it's been running for the past 3 months right now. Okay? So I have, say, around 10 to 14 children from grade 3 to grade 5. I have seen that uh, their scores are stuck at a place. So if someone is scoring a 38 out of 40, throughout the child is getting a 38. If a child is getting a 25, even if the child has finished the entire workbook, prep guide, previous year question paper, the child ends up getting a 25 out of 40. So the clue here is that English or math, they are checking the general perspective of the child. So if someone is in, born and brought up in an English speaking environment, their their knowledge of English and the way they are going to
Would
understand
be a
the
little
question,
better.
it's going to be very good. So even if that child is preparing without any practice, because the child is watching TVs, listening to great just not YouTube channels, but the child is watching amazing series, children episodes on Netflix, for instance. So even during the conversation, like if it's a US based program, they're coming across different set of vocabulary. All right. And in US TV series, now I'll be recommending that kids should be watching, or listening to audio, podcast. But if they chote hai, so, they cannot
They
focus on
don't want.
audio. So if
Yeah.
they like something, like a series, like right now my child is watching Babysitters Club. ठीक है, I was watching Good Witch. Good Witch is under, the age for Good Witch is 7+. It's a very child friendly family drama, very safe content. Because I have watched it now, I'm on season 2. I feel it's very safe. They can relate to it. And British English is different than US English, right? So in US, they are using a lot of phrases which is more in a slang way. But again, that comes in general English language. And when
Language.
we're talking about British English, their vocabulary and other stuffs, it's very good. For they will not be using regular words like I like
Words.
it,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
eat. Yeah. So उससे भी ना their natural command, बिकॉज अगर मैं प्रेपोजिशन का टॉपिक ले लूं, ठीक है, सो प्रेपोजिशन के पहले एक वर्ड है, वर्ब है, और वर्ब के साथ आपको वही प्रेपोजिशन लगाना है जो उसके साथ जाता है. सो वी यूज टू लर्न ऑल दोस 200 वर्ड्स फॉलोड बाय प्रेपोजिशन वाला एक टॉपिक था रेन एंड
Right.
मार्टिन. इडियम्स को भी
Yeah.
वी हैड टू लर्न कि अगर पुट है तो पुट ऑफ क्या होता है, पुट बाय क्या होता है, सो
हाँ.
बट इफ समवन इज लिसनिंग एंड यूजिंग, दे विल हैव a very natural hand
They
over.
will have a natural flow. Yeah, they will
Yes.
have a natural flow.
So
Yeah.
now this is one category कि ठीक है, but अब now what about kids who who are being raised in a very different environment, जैसा हमारे इंडिया का है कि we talk more in Hindi, quite less
Hindi,
in,
right.
yeah, quite less in English, because we want them to have knowledge about Hindi also. Otherwise, if we are so much into English, they don't speak Hindi well. So
Correct. Yeah.
yeah. तो बैलेंस के लिए वही रहेगा कि हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू इम्प्रूव द चाइल्ड्स नेचुरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो कुछ कुछ प्रैक्टिसेस वी कैन डू, लाइक यू वॉच गुड टीवी सीरीज, उससे आपका आएगा. रीडिंग बुक्स से आएगा. एंड रीडिंग बुक्स, किड्स आर जस्ट रीडिंग फॉर द सेक ऑफ रीडिंग. वो भी बहुत अच्छे से सुपरवाइज करना पड़ता है. दे आर नॉट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग ऑल्सो, लाइक आई हैव सीन
True.
some
Yeah,
kids.
same here with Prakhar.
मतलब वो बुक खत्म करने के लिए they will, but they will not understand anything. So now if someone asks कि अच्छा my child, how many books my child should read, so it's better that they read one book 1 year, but उस बुक का पूरा बोलते हैं ना एक्सरे कर लेना.
मीनिंग समझना, हाँ हाँ
Yes.
हाँ. They should actually, you know, same is the case with Prabha. Reading,
हाँ.
he wants loads of books to read. But at the end of the day, if I ask him anything, he is not able to say it to me. So that is one thing that reading is one different part of English. Reading is good, but reading के साथ साथ communication भी आना चाहिए. Only reading will not, help.
Yeah, true.
Like, abhi there was this simple question uske school mein, abhi he was doing his homework, and he has this very simple question that you are going on a long journey in a train and have a co-passenger who's very talkative, and
Yeah.
you need to tell the co-passenger that you need some quiet space. So how will you say this to your co-passenger? Now for almost half an hour to 45 minutes, I've been trying to explain this to him, but he's not getting it. He's not able to put his thoughts into words. And Avni, this is like, one very small example, but whenever this type of critical thinking, or, in their school, they have lots of these types of questions where kids don't need to answer questions from the book. They need to think and answer it on their own. And there he's lagging a lot. And that's the main, even after reading so many books and doing so many things, he's still not able to put his thought into words.
Yeah, I know. That is also another struggle that a lot of children they face. Some kids, they are naturally good at it. They will put their own brain and they will, give something that is relatable, if not right. But you know what happens
Yeah,
when the
there is not
child
a
is too,
question of right or wrong.
but is he like too conscious about himself?
I think yes, because I don't conscious है, confidence नहीं है. The thing is, अभी कुछ भी ऐसे type of questions आते हैं where he needs to write it in his own words. कुछ भी
Hmm.
ऐसा होगा. Anything in creative writing, है, letter है, कुछ भी है. And if there is a question in which the ma'am has said that you need to write in 30-40 words, a question is asked, wants you to answer in 30-40 words. He will count कि मम्मी 25 words हो गए हैं,
I know.
26
नहीं,
words
वो
हो
बहुत
गए,
natural है. It's quite natural at this age. I think when he's going to be in grade 6, and if you're practicing the same thing for the next 2 years, you will see drastic change. Because sometimes we are expecting a lot of things at quite an early age, when the natural maturity, or when the child reaches his natural maturity. Every child may not be mature at the same age, right? We know ki some 7-year-old are so mature as compared to a 9-year-old, right? Because everyone is going through their own biological clock differently. So when that hits, even that will make a huge difference. Because I have seen, like, my daughter's friends, a lot of friends are there. Some of them are so mature, they're handling stuffs easily, as compared to my child, who is, quite childish. So I feel when she's going to be 11 or 12, automatically a lot of things and a lot of, you know when you're talking about structured learning, managing their own stuffs, it's going to come over time. But second,
right.
it will also not come if we will always be a helicopter parent.
Correct.
Because we never, like, I'm telling you, it's a problem with everybody. It's just not me, you. It's like we are supervising so much that the child is not getting that access and that freedom to, plan their own studies. So what I have done is, actually I've done it, like, I don't look into her school academics, even if it is school exams, and she's not done very well like what she used to do in grade 3. I feel grade 4, grade 5 may, if she is not performing 90% and 75% भी ला रही है, but अगर उसको समझ में आ रहा है कि I am not doing well, because till the time I'm protecting her and providing her with all the resources, what she has to do is sit next to me. Mama is giving everything. It's a spoon feeding thing, I'm telling you. And
Yeah.
I want her कि you decide, you plan कि कल मेरा अगर science exam है, how should I learn? Because I'm telling you, just take about science या subjects that she likes. So interesting subject she will learn. But if it is Hindi, even if she's writing 50 times a spelling of say mouth, वो वहां जाकर के उसका मात्रा चेंज हो जाता है बिकॉज शी इज नॉट कॉन्शियसली लर्निंग. सो इस चीज के लिए तो आई कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग एंड द प्रॉब्लम मे बी बिकॉज आई वॉज ओवर सुपरवाइजिंग. सो वंस यू जस्ट स्टॉप डूइंग दैट, देन यू विल सी कि एक और जो होता है ना बच्चों का, बहुत सारे बच्चे बहुत मैच्योर होते हैं. वो इसलिए होते हैं बिकॉज सर्कमस्टांसेस. सी इफ वी
बट एक डर ये भी होता है ना अपनी कि वो मतलब आई अगेन आई एम नॉट प्रोफेसाइजिंग कि ग्रेड्स आई वांट फर्स्ट मार्क्स ऐसा कुछ
करेक्ट
फर्स्ट रैंक एंड ऑल. बट अगेन अगर वो लोअर परसेंटेज में बच्चे खुश हो जाते कि मम्मी देखो मेरा पहले 60 आया था अब 65 आया है.
हाँ
सो बट वो एक आ जाता है कि ओके ठीक है कोई बात नहीं इतना ही तो कम हुआ है. इट्स नॉट दैट
आई
सो
नो.
व्हाट.
सी इट्स सच अ हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन कि मैं कुछ बोल रही हूँ वो दूसरे के फेवर में नहीं भी हो सकता है बिकॉज एट लास्ट वी ऑल केयर फॉर मार्क्स, राइट? बट मैंने देखा है कि until and unless the power comes from the child within, no one can do anything. वो 80% पे जाकर के रुक जाता है. So that is just one thing, but let's come to the topic of English. Okay, if it's an English speaking background था, but क्या करें अगर हमने अभी start किए है, right? So 20 days में कुछ change नहीं होगा. Neither it's going to change in 3 months of preparation that we've been doing, because your knowledge of English language cannot be improved in 3 months. It takes years and years of practice, right? So instead of solving, now this is again a very different perspective that I'm giving you. Instead of solving so many workbooks, बिकॉज आप अगर 3 वर्कबुक भी सॉल्व कर रहे हो इंग्लिश में, आप कितने वर्ड्स कर सकते हो? 50, मैक्सिमम 50 वर्ड्स. एंड इन ओलंपियाड द 51st वर्ड फ्रॉम द डिक्शनरी कैन बी आस्क्ड. देन व्हाट विल यू डू? सो इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग दिस वे, अगर आप अपने बच्चे को वो सारे टूल्स और एम्यूनिटीज दे दो जिनसे उनका इंग्लिश ऑटोमेटिकली अच्छा हो जाए. I have seen a lot of kids, they don't study, but they're getting 38, even 40 on 40, Trisha, in grade 4. The child said, I did not study. And when I'm assessing that child, I see that his natural understanding of English is good. So even if he gets that question paper for the first time, he will do very well. Now, it's up to us that what type of preparation we should provide our kids that they become like this child that I'm talking about. Because limitation हो जाएंगे. आप 20 words याद कर सकते हो, 200 word याद कर सकते हो, 10,000 words याद करना is impossible unless you know tricks that आधे हम morphological root से कर ले, आधे आधे का आपको एक पता है, आप eliminate करो. ठीक है? So I will show all the books of how we can work with vocabulary, okay, and then how we can work on English structure, like basic comprehension of English. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So firstly, I'll recommend high school Renan Martin. If your kids are in grade 4 and above, 4 above के लिए high school is important. So school level में if we see, this is recommended for kids who are in grade 7. All right. Yeah, it's grade 7 book. But if I share the proverbs, the idioms that they ask even in Olympiad, the preposition. So they have around 200 idioms here, which kids should know. So if they're reading, like I used to mug, I never understood this. But if now you teach them, like I'll just give you one sentence. And this book is really nice because it even has all those difficult topics like figures of speech, जिसमें metaphor है, hyperbole है, and oxymoron है, जो हम सारे चीजें use करते हैं ना to write a very good structured writing, like descriptive होना चाहिए, figurative language होना चाहिए. इस book में spelling rules भी है. So see, if you are teaching something to your child in the grade that the child is in grade 7, he may not have time for that because more than 80% of the words तो वो ऐसे ही याद कर लिया होगा because they are seen, right? So इसमें there are rules that I always talk about on my Insta stories. So this book is really good. Now I'll just read couple of sentences, okay? In spite of all his brag, he had to eat humble pie. ठीक है? So इसमें जो eat humble pie है ना, वो एक proverb है. Now I
Okay.
never came across this आज से
Same here.
पहले. Yeah. So अब इसके inverted brackets में लिखा हुआ है to apologize humbly, to yield under humiliating circumstances. So to eat humble pie होता है इसमें जो अगर आप you have to apologize. So
Humbly, हाँ.
and if you see the question paper, they ask all these different idioms,
Questions.
proverbs आते हैं. जो ग्रेड 4 लेवल में आ रहा है वो बहुत फेमिलियर है, बट वो फेमिलियर जो फेमिलियरिटी है वो डिपेंड करता है कि वो बच्चे ने क्या क्या सुना है. Like under the weather, my child is under the weather, so he missed his school. My daughter thought under the weather is that the weather is not doing well, right? She did not know that.
Correct.
And I told her
हाँ.
it means कि the child is sick. So once she knows, now she may, will not forget. But बहुत बार होता है हम भूल जाते हैं, तो आप कैसे डिलीवर कर रहे हो वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट करता है. इफ यू एसोसिएट इट विथ योर प्रैक्टिकल डे टू डे experience and circumstances, implementation becomes very easy. It means that I will be using it for the next 4 to 5 days, and then automatically
Right.
under the weather.
आ जाते हैं, हाँ,
And
हाँ,
then
हाँ.
when I talk about these episodes, that English episodes that kids are watching, they themselves relate to that. Yesterday only she was telling me, I don't remember which proverb it was. They will themselves know कि ये एक proverb है, ये एक idioms है. And when they become conscious, then that's the point when the entire game changes. Because even our vocabulary, our knowledge of English is limited.
Not
We
that strong.
cannot provide after grade 5. We cannot. Unless
Correct.
it is impossible. We cannot do that. So now this, again, I'll give you some other example. It is silly. Like, I am prepared to meet you halfway. Halfway. Now, this is something that we may have come across, that I'm
Yeah.
ready to compromise with you. A lot of people use
Yeah.
it in their regular speech. So if you read this particular page, now they have a lot of words here, a lot. I'm telling you, it's more than 200 words here. So अगर आपने ऐसा डिसाइड कर लिया कि आप अपने डेली रूटीन में पांच फ्रेजल वर्ब्स इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हो बच्चों के साथ, धीरे 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 धीरे, एंड एक बार पढ़ने के बाद यूजेज भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, दैट यूज इट इन योर सेंटेंस.
डेली सेंटेंसेस, डेली कॉन्वर्सेशंस में.
हाँ, और वो भी
Yeah.
आप ये वाले वर्ड के सिचुएशन पे पहुंचोगे तभी तो आप ये वर्ड यूज भी तो करोगे.
Correct. Yeah.
So then you have to ask the
But
child
we
to
also need to be conscious कि नहीं अभी ये situation है, okay now we can use
हाँ,
this
and ये
basic verb
alertness
and
आता नहीं है unless we are that great speakers. वो alertness आता नहीं है. Now this is more than flesh and blood can endure, so it's like human nature. So इसमें से तुम क्या कर सकते हो, like आप लोग क्या कर सकते हो, you can underline something that you have come across, जो daily, a lot of familiar phrasal verbs जो आप सुने हो, आप उसको underline करके अभी वो 20 deliver कर दो, and then that's how it's going to go. But again, I'm telling you, there is a limitation when it comes to parents intervention. आप कितना करा दोगे, right? Lastly, the child has to do. So you have to provide them with all these tools, and they will themselves know कि ऐसे ही करना पड़ता है, this is how it goes. Now, this was one thing that I spoke about. Now I'll be showing some books for building good vocabulary. Now this book I got from Amazon. This is a very beautiful book. I'll tell you why. Okay, you can take a screenshot. Okay. Now, a lot of kids, they remember stuffs through pictures. All right. So I'll give you one example. So all the words here, it's alphabetically arranged. Okay, sorry. So abhor means detest, when you dislike something. So they are going to relate to this picture that these guys here, they have a lot of work to do. Okay, but still they are resting because they dislike working. So that's how they have associated the word abhor with. ठीक है? Usage, yeah. So usage of the verb. Now, if it is a word which this is a mistake which I did while growing up. Even when I was learning the vocabulary, I was not paying emphasis on the part of speech, and then I did not know how to use it. Suppose if this word abhor, okay, abhor is Kanika, we're just discussing ways to increase and improve a child's vocabulary. And this is the book that I have shown. It's available on Amazon. You can take a photo. Um, and this is how the pages look like here. You know, it has pictures. So now if you know that abhor is a verb, so you will be using it in the sentence, you know, after the noun that someone did something. I'll just get back to you in 1 minute. So, and then if there is another word that is abhorrence, but it has abhor in it, so the child can relate to it that, you know, it is something that you hate doing. But abhorrence is a noun form. So you will have to use this particular word appropriately in the sentence. Now, I'll give you another word that is abominate. Abominate. So how this book works, there's a pictures and there is a link, a bomb hate. So abominate का मतलब होता है कि you know you hate something. There's a strong aversion to something. And if the word, you know, it's a verb form of word. Okay. So instead of saying that you hate something, you will use it as, instead of hate, you will write abominate. They have 3 to 4 sentences below where the child can see how to use it in a sentence. I will read it out to you. Okay. David abominates vegetables. Very simple. Like I hate vegetables. So I'll say I abominate vegetables. Okay. Now I'll make another better sentence here. During my pregnancy, I abominated dal. Got it? Now it's a past tense. तो मैंने उसको abominate ed कर दिया. So all these things, a natural speaker can naturally fix it, but a lot of kids, they have to be shown that, you know, correct word form, correct part of speech, and all, and a lot of other things. Sam loves traveling with his family to the mountains for vacation each year, but he abominates the 12-hour drive. इतने पढ़ने के बाद very easily it sinks in that, you know, abominate means hate. But a lot of time we rush. We should not be, you know, rushing through, because if we are teaching alphabets, you know that first few alphabets, A, B, C, D, सीखने में बच्चे को सबसे ज्यादा टाइम लगता है, एंड उसके बाद जो अल्फाबेट्स आते हैं वो बहुत जल्दी सीख जाते हैं बच्चे. डू यू अग्री और नॉट? The initial alphabets are very difficult because, you know, you're training your brain to learn something. And if it is something similar, you know, if you're on the same flow that you're learning a lot of words, it automatically registers. So I am going to highly recommend you to have this book. And for the time being, you have to study this book with your kids. How I am using is, it has all the words from A to Z, but it doesn't have a lot of other words also, because every book has its own limitations. So I have made one book with my daughter, like a notebook, and I'm not doing all the A words. You know, I do 1A, 1B, 1C, and then we will end up learning 26 words of different alphabet order, right? Different, like A, B, C, D, say. And then again, we will come back to the next A, B, C, D. That's how we will, you know, come in the flow. Because then we end up learning a lot of other words, like fidgety and then fetish. Now,
So do
what
you do this every day, like
it is
every day
impossible.
one word
नहीं
every
यार,
day?
हर दिन नहीं हो पाता है, हर दिन नहीं हो पाएगा अगर आप,
Okay, sorry.
yeah, it is not possible. So even if you're doing, say, thrice a week, it's okay. But it has to be in your natural routine. It has to be in your routine. And see, if you're doing this, you have to compensate for the other things that you're going to miss out on. Like reading will not be present. Then आप reading छोड़ के आप ये करो. And to accomplish all these things, it requires that you have a very strict routine that आप time to time सब चीज follow कर रहे हो. उसमें से 60% भी अचीव हो जाता है तो बहुत है. 100% is difficult, very difficult, because then it becomes a very robotic life. We don't want our kids to be robots, but you know, you're just exposing them कि अच्छा words ऐसे होते हैं. फिर naturally, you know, if they come across their friends speaking, any other person, they will just एक ही दिन में absorb हो जाता है, you know, like बहुत natural है. Okay, so this is a junior level book for kids in grade 4 के ऊपर. They can easily do it. All right. The other book that I'm talking about is GRE Power Vocab. Okay, so this book is not child friendly. It's going to intimidate because you know इसमें कोई photos भी नहीं है and सिर्फ word है, meaning है, pronunciation है, part of speech है and 2-3 sentences है. So if you are training from this your child can automatically pick up on. All right. Now I'll tell you that these books my friends used to master in 30 days. ठीक है? Because GRE या GMAT का preparation में ये सारे words लगते हैं. You have to enrich your vocabulary with 10,000 words. Now, even if you're learning for 30 days, you are definitely going to forget it after your exam. And we don't want that to happen. So children who are in metro cities and their parents are also quite aware that, you know, they have to have rich vocabulary. They start it very early. They started from grade 1. And वो natural, पता है हमें ऐसा लगता है कि it's, ये ना एक पहाड़ है, it's like a very big deal. It is not a big deal because then they even talk in their regular English like that, you know, like you will tell Prakhar, stop irritating me, stop bothering me, right? But then you will start saying, stop badgering me. And it becomes very easy. Okay? So these were the 3 books. Now in the last 10 minutes, I want to cover up on how you can level up your reading. It is very important. Now see, अभी अगर मेरे बच्चे को रोल डाल समझ में आ रहा है, इनिट ब्लिटन समझ में आ रहा है, right? So अब मैं क्या करूंगी? Now this is a British author. It's a classic storybook. It's a classic novel by P.G. Wodehouse. I'm going to read just one paragraph and I'm going to challenge you that it's going to be very difficult for you to interpret, okay? Firstly, and I'll tell you how we can teach our children that अगर इतना difficult text भी आ रहा है, तो how will you interpret it? All right. So it says, now so you have to listen because this is a listening test also. Jeeves placed the sizzling eggs and bacon on the breakfast table, and Reginald Kipper Herring and I, licking the lips, squared our elbows and got down to it. Now you have to tell me, even if your video is off, you have to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Did you understand? Did you understand? Okay. Okay. So now what to do if you have not understood? There are 2 things. First, you have to tell your child that underline all the nouns. ठीक है? अब कैसे पता चल रहा है ये noun है? A lot of proper nouns are written in capital letters because sometimes they don't know, because see, if you're reading a novel that a Russian author wrote or a Turkish author wrote, every religion has their own names. Now in India, they have different names. So you can associate it as, acha, this is a name of a boy or a girl or a human. But a lot of times you don't even end up knowing that it's a name of a person. So firstly, you have to teach your kids to identify all the nouns. Secondly, identify all the verbs. उससे क्या हो जाएगा कि more or less you can at least come very close to what the sentence is interpreting. Okay, like here, placed. Now sizzling eggs को sizzling eggs है, तो यहाँ पे although ing लगा है, but it is describing what egg it is. It's a sizzling, very hot egg on the breakfast table. And now again we have to ask how many people are there. Now there is Jeeves, There is Reginald Herring. Now they have even written the surname, ठीक है? And bracket में Kipper भी है. So that means कि उसका pet name is Kipper. Now kids, what my daughter said that there are 5 people, mama, because एक Reginald है, एक Kipper, एक Herring है. And then I told her there is no comma. So pay attention. Your name can have a lot of, you have your dad's name in it, your surname in it. So even your name is so big. So that's how she understood. Okay? Licking the lips, squared our elbows. Now, squared our elbows, matlab, Britishers, they have a very good habit. They have a proper etiquette to sit at the breakfast table and eat, like, I'll just show you, like this. And then samne aapka napkin hai, plate hai. So that's how it means. So generally, authors, they make their writing quite descriptive, and that's exactly what P.G. Wodehouse is doing. And they all got down to it. A lifelong buddy of mine, this herring linked to me by what are called imperishable memories. Okay? It's very good in English. Nothing imperishable memories. Like perishable are products that gets damaged in 1 day. That has very short shelf life. Yeah. So same, you have to tell your kids that imperishable memories are memories that you cannot forget. It's a lifetime memories, and such a beautiful way to use it. Only if you are reading such text, your children will be able to appreciate the beauty of difficult words. So rather than me reading an Enid Blyton book, जो अब वो खुद से interpret कर सकता है, I want to level up his understanding. So अगर वो एक basic Indian author के book में भी है, say Ruskin Bond, but Ruskin Bond writes beautifully. मतलब I love his choice of words and sentence structure. But if you take all these classic story books, naturally your child is going to come across even more, difficult words, popular words, which they ask in Olympiad. Now you will ask me that, Avni, what is the surety that you will finish this book with your child? I'll say minimum probability I will not be able to finish it. Even if I read 2 to 3 pages from this, it's more than sufficient, because something is better than nothing. अभी मैंने इतना समझा दिया, मैंने उसको ये तरीका बता दिया है कि एडजेक्टिव को आइडेंटिफाई करो, वर्ब्स को आइडेंटिफाई करो, अपने से समझो कि नाउन के पहले अगर कोई वर्ड है, इट मे बी डिस्क्राइबिंग, you're providing the tools. That's what I'm telling you. And then it helps. So this is a very difficult text, because it has all those good words. Now see, the plat du jour, which is a French word, I'm pronouncing it absolutely wrong. The plat du jour having gone down the hatch, accompanied by some fluid ounces of strengthening coffee. Now I don't know what does having gone down the hatch mean. It is again a proverb. अब मैं उसको Google करूंगी. And that's how, we have to even teach them that don't be lazy to look up the words on dictionary. बहुत आलसी होते हैं बच्चे. Even I was. नहीं देखना है, ठीक है, हो गया. So you have to work on those things. These small habits are going to work like wonders in future. Okay. Now there is another book that I wanted to show. Now this is Professor by Charlotte Bronte. Now Bronte series भी बहुत popular था, 18th century का है. Now these are romantic books. You cannot give it to your younger one. Kids who are say above 15, they can read it. But again, the choice of word is beautiful. Sentences, etc. Now, when you say that you want to teach your children to write beautifully, simple sentences nahi hone chahiye, complex sentence format hona chahiye. So I just read it again. Dancing began. I should have liked well enough to be introduced to some pleasing and intelligent girl, and to have freedom and opportunity to show that I could both feel and communicate the pleasure of social, I cannot even use the word here. So again, when you are giving any book, पहले आप scan कर लेना कि वो, is it child appropriate or not? All right, because these like Bronte series, it's not for children. But I'm just telling you that these books, if you feel that ये एक particular passage child friendly है, with less of adult talks, that is what I'm focusing more on. Because you have to be careful about everything that you're giving to your children, right? So that's why I was just telling you here. So this also helps. Now there is a difference when I read a Harry Potter book, which is again very difficult. Now I have read PG Wodehouse to you, and now I'll be reading Harry Potter. You can instantly understand the difference. Not for the first time, an argument had broken out over breakfast at number 4 Privet Drive. Mr. Vernon Dursley had been woken in the early hours of the morning by a loud hooting noise from his nephew Harry's room. This is very easy as compared to what I read from this book. I'm again reading a passage from Ruskin Bond's book. One day when Rakesh was 6, he walked home from the Masuri Bazaar eating cherries. Now see, here we have two verbs, walked and eating. If P.G. Wodehouse or any other 18th century author would have written it, they would have never mentioned walked and eating. Trotted likhte, kuch aur likhte, but not this. And that's how the vocabulary improves. So this is how, one can practice stuffs at home to improve their natural understanding of English. And this meeting is going to get over in 30 seconds. So I hope it was an informative session. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yes, definitely. Just one thing, Avni, like yesterday when I started, as I told you, it's just been 2 days that I started teaching Prakhar. Just there, like, I was teaching him pronouns. So there are different types of pronouns. So is it really necessary to know for the kids to know the names of these pronouns, which I also did not know?
No, not at all. I don't refer to. See, in CBSE schools, they want them to know different types of pronouns, but it's a redundant process. You can skip it as long as if it's coming in the exam per se ke liye bata dena chahiye.
I was reading in this MTG ka Olympiad
Yeah, yes.
patient ka